Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's go over chapter 23. So, what to do with birthdays? The number of years that a person has lived upon this planet is not important, but it is extremely important to place the mind in the proper attitude towards the idea of years, especially that idea that takes birthdays for its nucleus. To the average person, birthdays and the process of growing old are inseparably united, and for that reason, the usual thought about birthdays is an age-producing thought. Remember how we discovered that that is what a race thought is, because it is simply something that the people just automatically picked up on. Oh, we're getting older. They see their physical selves growing and changing in appearance, and that change in appearance gives them the idea, the thought that they're growing old. But in reality, birthdays are in no manner connected with the aging process. Therefore, the entire subject must be viewed under a new light. And we had discussed that concept in one of the earlier chapters, in like the first 7 chapters of this book, I believe it was, when we had gone over that, and how just because the Earth revolves around the sun one time every 365 days, we had put that as a year, and that idea of I've already went around the sun 23 times. I'm 23 years old. Other people are dying at 100. Maybe I'm only going to live to I'll be lucky to even live to be that age. That's what a lot of people kind of seem to think nowadays, simply because they see other people and they're not aware of the realities of how things really are, which is looking beyond the surface and not just taking things for as you see them, and really looking beyond the surface of who they are. Look at them. Look at them with your mind. Look at me right now with your mind. You can see me. You'll be able to see me. You'll be able to see through me. You'll be able to see my imperfections. You'll be able to see those things that I try to work on. You'll be able to see. You can see all that stuff. I'm not here to try to hide anything. I've already mentioned it many times. Old age is something, it is nothing but a concept which has been created by the idea of man, from him seeing the fact that we go, from his discovery that we revolve around the sun once every 365 days, so we created that year, and that year, the idea of the year is implanted in the mind of the subconscious, so we automatically think that we're getting older and older and older every year, but in fact, science proves that we don't get older every year, that we are in fact entirely renewed, a brand new person every year. All matter is subject to mind. It is not the truth. When a person declares that he is thus or so old, he is not speaking the truth, because age is a false condition, not a product of years. It is a scientific fact that years are wholly incapable of producing any condition of age in the person. Therefore, birthdays and age can have no connection whatever. To be scientific, the individual must never think of himself as being so many years old, because such a thought will cause the mind to expect every year to increase the conditions of age. Years, however, cannot produce age, but thought can, and the thought that expects age will produce age. The two words, quote, years and old, end quote, should therefore never be combined in the same sentence. They are contradictions and will not mix. To think of age at all is wrong, because in the right there is no age. What we call age is simply a mistake and should be forgotten. The individual, however, may with perfect propriety state how many years he has lived in his present personal life, because it is the truth that he has lived as many years as he has lived, but it is not the truth that those years have produced age. When the birthdays arrive, the mind should be simply, because it is the truth that he has lived as many years as he has lived, but it is not the truth that those years have produced his age. When the birthdays arrive, the mind should be deeply impressed with the idea that another step in the ascending life has been taken. A birthday should be looked upon as a mark of progress, because it is the true, advancing life that is what it is. When we live the life of continuous advancement, every birthday will indicate that we are not so much older, but so much higher in the scale of the life beautiful, because we are growing in mind, we are growing in consciousness, and we can grow so much in 1 year, and that growth in 1 year may be relative to the actual 365-day year in the physical world. You know, some people don't grow much in their mind, and 5 years could go by and they won't really feel that many years have gone by, because they didn't really make much progress in their mind. But somebody who has made a ton of progress in their mind within 1 year may feel as he's gone through 2 years, you know, because of the progress he has made, because of how much he has grown in that short amount of time. The true birthday is celebrated by the individual proving to himself that he has actually taken another step, that he is more vigorous in body, more youthful in appearance, more perfect in personality, more brilliant in mind, and more brilliant or beautiful in soul. When you celebrate your birthday, do not think of yourself as being a year older, a year nearer age, uselessness, death, and the grave. Such ideas should be banished forever. But think of yourself as being a step nearer the greater life, the superior life, the beautiful life, the ideal life, the fair, transcendent goal that you so often have seen during those sublime moments when the soul was revealed to your vision. There is a great goal that every person has in view. On the path towards this goal, there are many ambitions to be perfected, many desires to be fulfilled, many ideals to be realized, many dreams to be made true, and after all of these come the goal itself. To live the true, advancing life is to move forward towards this great goal, realizing one ideal after another until every wish of the heart has been granted. And every birthday will mark the great good gained during the year that has just been fulfilled. Just how great of a life would that be, to knowing that you're just continuously always moving and always producing. We have a lot of work to do. Let's move forward towards this goal, realizing one ideal after another, until every wish of the heart has been granted, and every birthday will mark the great good gained during the year that has just been fulfilled. To associate birthdays with the advancement of life is to look forward to every birthday as the realization of a greater measure of the richness of life, and what we constantly expect, we invariably produce. Let's make more of an effort. You're not putting enough effort, Corey. You're not putting enough effort, bro. Why are you taking your time to accomplish your dreams? Why are you taking your time to accomplish your goals? Are they really not that important to you? Is smoking weed really that important to you? To think of the coming birthdays as a realization of more of everything that we have lived for and worked for is to cause all the forces of life to work together to make all our wishes come true when the next birthday arrives, and to think of every birthday as the beginning of a new life, a life of higher attainments and greater achievements than we have ever realized before, is to cause all the forces of life to proceed to make this greater dream also come true. Because we are all creators, and we see our thoughts manifesting all the time. Just only until you actually discipline your thinking, and to only think a certain way, and to stop thinking like you used to think, because you're not that anymore. Only then will your life really begin to take off. When years are considered in connection with birthdays, always state that you are so many years young, and it is the truth. You are not so many years young. I'm sorry. Refocus. When years are considered in connection with birthdays, always state that you are so many years young, as I'm 23 years young instead of 23 years old. And it is the truth. You are not so many years old because you are not old. There is no age in real life. But you are so many years young because you have lived so many years, and during those years you have continued to stay young. There may be old age conditions in your system, but they may not belong to you. They were not produced by the years you have lived. They were mere mistakes, and will disappear when you take the firm stand that you are young, because nature has placed the gift of youth in the actual possession of every man. And nature has also placed the gift within man to overcome any of his obstacles. Because it is the nature of man to overcome the world. Because we are the light of the world. It is our nature. It is our very being. Know ye, my children, that your purpose in being is the transmutation of darkness to light. Thoth the Atlantean. When you desire to learn the number of years that others have lived, always ask, how young are you? Or, how many years have you lived? But do not even think of age. Such thought has no place whatever in a scientific mind. Never hesitate to state how young you are. Always give the exact number of years when requested to do so. Prevarications. We found a new word. Let's look up what prevarications means. Maybe like pre-qualifications? Prevarication. The act of prevaricating, or lying. Seeing the expression of his mother's face, Nathan realized this was no time for prevarication. So prevaricating means to speak falsely or misleading, deliberately misstate or create an incorrect impression. Okay. Never hesitate to state how young you are. Always give the exact number of years when requested to do so. Lying is not conducive to perpetual youth. So do not lie about your age. Do not lie about how you feel about it either. And always state the truth. The truth is that you are young. Because science, the scientific mind. Never hesitate to state how young you are. Always give the exact number of years when requested to do so. Because prevarications, lying, is not conducive to perpetual youth. To try to hide the number of years you have lived is to produce a subconscious fear of age, and to fear age is to produce age. And you will then say with Job that the thing I had feared upon has come upon me. And we must not think upon those things. Remember, focus on what you want. Bring those things that you want, because you will then attract those things. The idea that we can retard the oncoming of age by stating positively that we are 18, 22, or 27 when we have lived 2 or 3 times as many years has no foundation in exact science. Okay, so it sounds like what he's saying, because a lot of people too desire to be younger, and they would state that they're 27 instead of 32, because it gives them the false belief of actually being 22, when 22 is simply an idea, a false idea, because there is no real 22. It's just All that is an expression of how many times you revolved around the sun. It does not express the real age of man. Besides, such statements are never true in any sense, and to impress untruth upon the subconscious is to form a tendency in the subconscious to unconsciously accept the untrue. In consequence, we shall be misled in 1,000 ways. To state the exact number of years you have lived when requested to do so is scientific, and is in harmony with those laws through which you may perpetuate your youth. But only those who have a personal interest in your life, or who have legal matters to arrange for you, have the privilege to ask how many years you have lived. To ask such a question for mere curiosity is not conducive to youth, because those who ask such questions out of curiosity are thinking of age, not of youth. They therefore bring age upon themselves through their own misdirected inquisitiveness. The number of years that a person has lived in a secondary importance is of secondary importance, and should be thought of as such. Nevertheless, no person should try to deceive himself or others in this respect. To be scientific, you should be proud of your years, and you should glory in the fuller life, the larger mentality, the greater power, and the more vigorous youth than those years have produced. And these are the results that will invariably follow the coming of more and more years, when we consequently live the advancing life. When every year is looked upon as an opportunity to add to the power, the richness, and the joy of life, and that opportunity is taken advantage of, every year will produce the greater power, the greater richness, and the greater joy, and many years will produce a greater measure of the same desirable results. Therefore, we may well be proud of the years we have lived. We will have good reason to glory in the fact that we have lived long, because we have lived exceedingly well. To him who lives the true life, the coming of more years will bring more vigorous youth. He will daily pass from the youth of incompleteness to the youth of high development. He will continue to stay young, but every year will give his youth greater power, greater capacity, a more perfect personality, and a superior mind, but only if he is advancing in his mind, day in and day out. To him, every year is a rising path, and every birthday the reaching of greater heights than he has ever reached before. To speak of anything as old is unscientific, because nothing that is of permanent value can grow old, and that which is not of permanent value should not be mentioned. The great products of the race, such as music, art, literature, invention, scientific facts, lofty ideals, these can never grow old. They have the same power now as when they first appeared. Why? Because it is a power of mind. And that same power they will continue to possess for countless ages yet to be. They are as young now as when they were born. They are products of real life. Therefore, theirs is the life of eternal youth. I hear a fly in my room. To speak of the old songs, the old writers, the old composers, the old philosophers, the old masters, all of that is a false conception of life. To think of anything as old because it first existed in the years gone by is to think of age and years as synonymous, and this is the very idea we positively must eliminate. And also the idea that those old composers, those philosophers, those old masters, that only they were able to do those things is false. That you can also be that, and you can do that if you but learn and understand the forces of nature. That's all they lived as naturally as can be lived, because they understood life, and they understood the laws, and they employed the laws. They understood their thoughts and their thinking. They understood science and things that are happening of the now. They understood consciousness. That's all we need to do is understand consciousness and help to spread the word just as they did. That's it. To think of time as the great eternal now, because that's been my biggest dream. That has always been my biggest dream, to be, just imagine, just being a master of the law. Just sit, creator, viewer, sit, just imagine yourself being a master of the law, knowing that when you employ this law scientifically, when you employ this law directly and correctly, we will be able to have the effects and experience the effects of those applications, the cause and effect. Hindus call it karma. To think of time as the great eternal now, beginless and endless, and to think that everything that was, now is, and evermore shall be, this is the thought of exact science. It is the truth. And it is also the thought of religion and philosophy. To him who thinks of life in this manner, all things are eternal, and that which is eternal will never grow old. To such a mind, the spirit of youth reigns supremely throughout the universe, and in that spirit he lives. Therefore, the life that he lives will be the life of youth, because he has entered into the spirit of youth, eternal youth. To him, every birthday will be the birthday of a new day, a more glorious day than he has ever beheld before. Now that is the end of chapter 23 of What to Do with Birthdays. Now this was a very interesting chapter, and I really liked the ideas that we got from it, and I really hope you do too. Thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. We're on the road to the new thought millennia. This is the time that the world has awakened. This is the time that this world is enlightened to the real truth about who we are and the powers that they have. This is the time. This is the millennia. We're in the information age. And this is the age where you learn that you are a creator. So all that being said, I'm going to grab this fly swatter. I got a mission to accomplish. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching to the end of this video, and I will see you in the next one. We're going to finish this book today. We only have a few more pages left, and I could hear him buzzing. So, that being said, I'll see you soon.